Hey everybody, I'm Hillary Atkin from the Atkin Report, and I am thrilled to welcome Eric Lange to Hillary's Happy Hour. Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing probably as well as anybody in the crazy world we're living in right now. But good, yeah, I can't complain.
Well, good.
How about you?
Well, one thing I've been up to lately is I've been watching HBO's Perry Mason with
Ah,
you, Matthew Reese, Tatiana Maslany, John Lithgow, and Shea Wiggum. What's it like playing Detective Holcomb, stepping back into 1930s LA, which is the exact time period of two of my all-time favorite films, Chinatown and LA Confidential?
oh yeah, it's such a sexy period, isn't it? And what I found interesting was they found a lot of LA that just still sort of without much finesse can sort of carry that era. You know, when you put the cars on the street and some of the great architecture we have in LA, like the show just looks gorgeous. I mean, the cast you listed is why that's a phenomenal job. You know, I mean, what an amazing array of actors, and Tim Van Patten, our director, is easily one of the best I've ever worked with. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, the trick with it is because it's kind of a noir Perry Mason-y thing. There's a real temptation to kind of pose your way through it, you know, with the hats and the cigarettes and the what. And I think we all tried to sort of find a modernized line of that, you know, so it still feels real and organic, but also is a nod to some of what you have to impose on something like that, which is a sort of a style or a tone. But it's so much fun. I just love doing it. Love everyone involved in that project.
And you're going to be in the next season as well, correct?
That's what I've been told. Yeah, they're plotting it and planning it as we speak, and whenever we're all allowed to shoot again and can do so regularly, yes, that's the plan, and I'm really thrilled about that.
Yeah, well, the plans, Eric, plans have changed, but I know that you have something coming out none of us have seen yet, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's called Brand New Cherry Flavor. What a great title. But it's going to be on Netflix. Catherine Keener is in it.
Mhm.
What can you tell us about that?
Brand New Cherry Flavor is from one of the weirdest things I've ever been in. I don't think anyone's seen anything like it. I certainly haven't. We almost finished shooting it. We were shooting it in Vancouver, and then we had a little Hollywood stint to do because it's set here, and COVID shut us down. So it's right on the brink of being able to be on your television. But yeah, it's a very wild tale about this young girl who moves to Hollywood to be a director with a short, who gets sort of associated with a producer, Hollywood producer, who happens to be me, who may or may not be a solid citizen, and then sort of a revenge tale forms around that. But yeah, it's me and Catherine Keener, Rosa Salazar, Jeff Ward is in it as well. It's just the wildest thing I've ever done, and I can't wait to see what the hell it looks like when they finish it.
Wow. So is it a limited series, or how many parts are you, when you finish shooting, how many episodes will we have?
It's 8 episodes. I believe at the moment it's a limited series, but I think that they could make a few more if they choose to do so. I'm not sure what the plans are, but for right now it's 8, and it's going to be it's going to be wild for sure.
Well, I don't think anyone will be able to forget that title, Brand New Cherry Flavor,
Isn't it
to
the
put
best?
it on their watch list.
Yeah, and it's based on a book, and the book is the same title. It's catchy for sure.
Absolutely. Well, speaking about Netflix, you were also part of one of this season's most talked about series, Unbelievable, in which you also play a detective. But I'd love to hear more about that. What was that like for you?
I'm very proud of that show. You know, it's based on a ProPublica article called "The Unbelievable Story of Rape," about this young girl who's raped and not believed by the police. And it isn't until a long while later that she's vindicated. And I guess it was sort of astonishing that that could still happen, that this kind of oversight. But what was really appealing to me about my character was that, you know, he does have a fully fleshed out arc. He made a tremendous error on the job and cost this girl a great amount of pain in her life. But then at the end, he does get the opportunity to apologize, which is what happened. I talked to Ken Armstrong, the guy who won the Pulitzer and wrote the article. And I said, what can you tell me about the detective that I didn't already know? And he said, when I interviewed him, I asked him, do you still think about Marie, who was the girl who was raped? And he said he took a very long pause, and then he said, could I excuse myself? And he walked out into the hallway and broke down. Like, wow. This guy has a huge heart. So it's very easy it would be easy to sort of villainize him and make him a one-dimensional idiot. But they did a really nice job of helping us fight against that. And it's a very complicated, tragic tale, but I'm really proud of it. It's beautifully done.
It really is. And it's, you know, a subject we should all be aware of. And I think that it really hammered it home.
Yeah. There was a wave when it came out of, like, I think it was a wake-up call for a lot of people. And I hope some changes have been made institutionally to help prevent something like that from happening in the future. But I'm sure it still will.
Well, speaking about crimes, let's a tough segue, but your roles on Narcos and Narcos Mexico, yeah. I have to tell you, both of those series have been extremely gripping, and it must have been an incredible production to, you know, shoot in Colombia. And tell us where else you were and how the experience was for you.
Yeah, I got that job when my daughter was just born. She was 3 months old or something. And I was like, or the offer to do it. And I was like, Colombia, because we shot it in Bogota. And I'm like, I'm not going to Colombia. I have a child now. I'm a father. I can't go, you know, get shot by some cocaine dealer, whatever. And then my fears were assuaged, and I went, and it ended up being this long period of my life. I love Steckner. I love that character, that he is sort of a ghost by design. Like, he's not in the show much, but when he comes in, he just goes, everything you've done is shit. I'm going to tear it all down and just stop trying. And then, you know, subsequently it broke off into Narcos Mexico, which they still thankfully bring me back for like an episode a season. So we shoot that in Mexico City. It's just, it's been so much fun to be a part of that family and to just play this beautifully brilliant, weaselly guy. You know, it's a lot of fun. I'm really honored to be a part of it.
Well, I'm looking forward to more of that. And, you know, I'm going to confess, you and I had the opportunity to meet when you were meet in person, not in Zoom, but actually in a real room, which we've, you know, been in a number of times. But when you were playing Lyle Mitchell in Escape at Dannemora, and that was an incredible role. And I do have to mention that you were nominated for the Critics' Choice Award for that. So
yes.
Very stellar role, and must have been very challenging.
Yeah, that's that job is the highlight of my career as I see it, and that nomination, the Critics' Choice nomination, is one of the highlights personally of my life. I mean, I'm so honored to you and to everyone involved in that organization to give me that honor. I still like tingle a little bit when I think about it. But that job was just an incredible experience. You know, they originally sent me the video of the real Lyle and how he talked and looked and sounded, and I thought, oh, there's no way I could do this, you know. And I went home to Ohio to see my parents with my family, and the whole week I just kept listening to it, kind of like, I got to try, but I don't think this is possible. And then weirdly, tragically, my wife's dad passed away when we were flying home from that trip. And so when I got to the airport, I called and I'm like, look, I'm out, you know, I can't do this. And I really didn't know how I would have done it. And then a couple of weeks went by and Rachel Tenner, the casting director, called and she was like, look, I know you have family stuff going on, but if you can get me a tape of anything by this date, I could get Ben to look at it. And by then I sort of heard her dad in my ear going like, go get this. You're afraid of this. You don't know how you're going to do it, but it's an opportunity and it could change your life and you got to go take care of your family. And so I went to Cinema Secrets there in Toluca Lake and I played the video for them and I'm like, whatever we got to do, give me it, the teeth and the hair and all that stuff, and I'm going to go. And I went home that night and I filmed an audition until 3:00 in the morning and sent it off. And Monday morning they called and said, you know, Ben wants to meet you. And we had our meeting and that was it. But it was kind of a wild tale to get there, you know, like I was just so afraid of how I would pull that off. And I had such support from Ben too, the whole process of getting it. He was just as anal as I was about getting the guy just right, you know, and, because he's a complicated person physically and auditorially, but also, you know, kind of the heart of the story. You know, he's sort of the guy in the middle of all this. And so I didn't want to betray any of that. Yeah, best job of my life, just hands down, a lot of fun.
Well, talk about working with your wife on that series, Patricia Arquette.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know, I always liken it to playing tennis with a pro. You know, you seem to be better, and it's not. It's just because they're able to really hit the ball where it's helpful to you. She's just she is so natural and organic and just grounded in every moment that you just feel a fraud if you're doing the slightest hint of what you'd call acting, or you know. So you just feel immediately like you got to get in this pocket with her of honesty. And my God, and so generous, like whatever you needed, she'd give you, and just a sweet, normal person who's also just a phenomenal actress, you know. So lucky. So
Yeah,
lucky.
but Eric, she wasn't honest with you as a character, as her husband. And I think that's part of, you know, it's one of those stories is like, you can't make this stuff up. I mean,
No.
I, for one, like millions of people, followed this case every step of the way on, you know, CNN. And it was, you just couldn't believe it really, really happened. So that was part of the intrinsic drama. And, you know, I think everyone empathized with your characters.
He's so, you know, I remember when it was all going on and they were shaming her, you know, so harshly in the news and calling it, you know, Shaw skank redemption and all this stuff. And that she was married, and then you suddenly see the video of this guy and it was like, oh man, this is even worse, because this poor guy just seemed shattered, you know, and like deer in the headlights, like what is happening? And so we always wanted to honor that, you know,
Yeah.
respectfully, not make him a caricature or something, you know. Just amazing, crazy town.
You know, is it a coincidence that so many of your roles, including this one, have been in stories that involve crime? And you could even say, going back to your breakout in Lost, what is that about, Eric?
I don't know. I used to make a joke that I wanted to get a screen grab of every time I sat in an interrogation room, because early on it was like every crime show, I was the guy who did it. And for a lot of those things, I think I was a good red herring, because I had this Midwestern, some people say kind face, and you would never assume he would be, you know, what a raping, beheading, whatever I was doing, and until the end, and so that was a lot of my career, was playing nefarious, not too great people. I don't know. I guess I think there's this fascination with things, crime. You know, you look at true crime documentaries and then scripted versions of those documentaries, and I don't know. I guess it's some way for people to live out being afraid of something, seeing it handled and tackled, and then everything's right again. I'm not so sure. I just kind of pick things on, if I start imagining, if I'm reading it and I start imagining and I can see, you know, how it would unfold for me, and that makes me imagine more, then it's something I should investigate. So maybe it's my problem. Maybe I'm the sicko because all these twisted people are very interesting to me. I always feel like that's, you know, what you present to the world is the armor. You know, that's the outside. That's the thing you created. And then I always try and find out like what's underneath that started the creation of the armor. Like, why did you build that particular facade for yourself to show to the world? And that's really, really interesting with people like that, people who are damaged or dastardly. So I don't know. I don't think too much about it, but that'd be my guess.
Okay, well, I couldn't help in making that observation, and no judgments on, but you know, during this pandemic, we all have to have our little escapes, and I understand you had an incredible family vacation to Yosemite National Park.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, we have two little kids. We have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and you can imagine without the access to the little play places and parks and things we normally take them to, they are starting to eat the furniture. And we decided we needed to just leave everything concrete and car and go to nature for a while. So we went to Big Bear for a few days and got on a boat in the water, and then went to Yosemite and rented this little ranch, little VRBO house. And oh my God, you know, you wake up and there's bunnies running around the driveway that my kids are chasing, and deer come up at night, and sunsets, and some canned wine, and you know, barbecue. I mean, it was just and that park is just like, you know, it's the land of giants. It just makes you feel so insignificant and at the same time like really peaceful. And we just needed it. We needed to get out of Dodge, and we already want to leave again. So it was so nice. We hated to leave. It was just magical.
Well, you know, I was thinking the kids, they're not going to remember this pandemic, luckily. Maybe the older one will, but we all will. But still, on that note, I know you have so many other projects coming up, as do most of us. Luckily, this has given us time to work on them, to prepare. But I wanted to propose a toast to you, Eric Lange, and wish you all the best as you go back to work, wherever your locations may be. And I really hope to see you in person soon.
Oh,
thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Here's a toast to you. Clink.
Clink, a virtual clink. Thank
I hope to see
you.
you soon too.